Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the studio here at Abbey Road Studios. I'm Doug Drinkwater. I'm the editorial and strategy director, I should say, at Hot Topics. And today we're looking at machine intelligence and tomorrow's CMO. Today I'm joined by Sakina Najmi, who is the CMO at IE Security, Ashish Babu, who is the CMO for UK and Europe at Tata Consultancy Services, I should say, and David Keene, who's the CMO for Europe at WiPro. Let me start by a general question. We're primarily looking at essentially the advent of artificial intelligence. That does mean different things to different people. David, I'm going to start with what your interpretation is of AI.
So to me, AI is something that we haven't commodified and turned into a product yet. So, if I look at the world that we live in, we use AI all the time. So Google Maps is AI. It helps you get from A to B. It helps you get to Abbey Road, etc. We call new things AI often because we don't have names for them. So like ChatGPT, other large language models are currently generally referred to as AI. And people think of generative AI as being AI, but we have this huge range of AI offerings out there: analytics, big data solutions, mapping, NLP, all of those kind of things. So there's a big range of types of AI out there.
I want to start with use cases, and let's get really into the practicalities of how each of you are using these technologies. And Ashish, I'm going to come to you first because you've got some interesting examples in terms of video translation, even kind of making quite mundane information more interesting. What are your kind of use cases at TCS today?
If you look at any guidelines, social media, GDPR guidelines are the most mundane stuff sitting in back of somebody, and some data specialists say, please read it. So I asked my team, can you look into that and make it exciting? Next time somebody logs into a social media guideline, instead of that 20-page document, can I have Mona Lisa telling me that story of how I need to protect myself? Can a Mickey Mouse tell me, or can I? So just make it a little more exciting. And we started to experiment, and we found that started to help us. Now, we don't know where that's going to go, but I think boring things can make me look exciting.
Hi, I'm Mariska. I have a background in tech industry as well, and I hear you talk a lot about AI. What are other leading tech trends that you see that will influence tomorrow's CMO?
AI is not cheap. AI is driven by service. Your carbon footprint is going to grow. So you're going to think about sustainability. The next tools, how are you going to keep yourself green? So that's going to be the other way. So I think sustainability is going to play a bigger role. And those are the tools which are going to come, that how you're going to create a better footprint, minimize your footprint. And I see AI will be a change, but also will be a chaos.
To me, one of the most interesting things is not a technology piece, but it's actually about the way the cultures that we're creating in the world and the channels. If you look at what's happening to social particularly, and the fragmentation of social and how it's breaking into all these smaller and smaller pieces. Twitter, we would never have thought would have been like one of the least used social apps that are out there, being eclipsed by Telegram and all these, in terms of current users, regardless of what my dear friend Elon says. The way that those channels are fragmenting and breaking out, for marketeers, that's a big, big issue. Like, how do you choose your targeting strategy? Where are you going to go? How are you going to get to those individuals out there? And then how are you going to track across those individual channels that you're working with? Cookies are dying, all of those things. So cross-platform tracking becomes harder and harder. So I think that kind of the communication channel, that last leg, is the technology piece that I'm thinking about a lot.
I've heard a lot of you talk about sort of how you're using those technologies to optimize the existing customer journey, but how do you see the customer journey itself changing as a result of these new technologies? And then what should we as marketeers be doing to respond to that?
I think every human wants to be entertained and educated together. We educate, and entertainment happens once in a while. And I think that's an opportunity we have, is to entertain and educate. And I think the person who does that is going to win more often.
Let's move on to people and skills. And Sakina, I want to come to you on this because I think there is genuine concerns around some of these technologies in terms of automating jobs or perhaps making skills that were relevant today less relevant tomorrow. How are you taking your teams with you? We'll come on to perhaps some of the skills you need to have, but some of this is on the storytelling, isn't it, in terms of what they can do for you and what they can do for the organisation?
It's more about like making sure that you have the right people who understand not just what the technology can do for you, but also what the business needs, right? And there is like, and they need to marry up the two, right? So sometimes like people come and they are like, okay, I've done this in the past, I want to do it again. I brought a playbook, I brought a blueprint. There's no playbook or blueprint, right? You just need to be knowledgeable enough what exists out there. What is it that this particular technology can bring for you? How will it add to what you want to do? And then marry it up with the strategy, the business strategy and the marketing strategy, and then like implement. And that those type of skills are really, I'm not going to say very hard to find, but not very easy to find as well, especially outside of the UK, right? I've been hiring for the past 3 years, and I feel like, the skills that you get outside of the UK and the US are getting there, but I think, we still need to hunt harder.
I think you'll get a mix of kind of very broad skilled marketeers who can do all of the marketing disciplines from digital all the way through to running events and kind of cutting copy and using these tools and like covering all the things, or very, very deep. So I think there will be less roles in the middle, less of those kind of, I do this piece of digital marketing and I do it kind of reasonably well. You're either amazing at it and amazingly deep, kind of brain surgeon level, or you cover all the disciplines and you can cover everything. So I think that's the split that we'll see, because the teams, I think, get smaller. We get less resources on the ground and they have to do more things, or they become very, very specialized.
So I'd like to finish with some practical guidance for everyone to take back into their day job. So any words of wisdom that you'd share with the audience today, perhaps where to start as well in terms of if you're starting out on this journey, where should you be focusing your time and attention?
I feel like, a lot of us are still, doesn't have all the knowledge that we need to have in order to implement a scalable AI technology tech stack in our marketing. So get all the knowledge you can get and you need to get, and then go out and understand what exists out there, right? So knowledge, market research, and then marry it up with the strategy that you have internally. I think if you get that right, then you have done your work and then you can convince a lot of people.
Don't build a tech stack which doesn't fit into your organization stack.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to build two different organizations and you will lose your job. So you have to take the CI along or the CD along of how you're going to help that journey, because otherwise we're going to be an island with a lot of promise but no delivery.
Absolutely.
What a stark warning to...
Sorry, my job, I'm just sharing,
like a red
because
flag.
I'm also speaking to CIOs, and that's what they're saying, is the marketers are doing all this experimentation, they're not talking to us enough. So we don't know what to be ready for, and then something goes wrong, and we're going to put everybody behind the bars.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want.
Yeah.
So have a conversation and be the ambassador, and excite people. That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Behind the bars, that became more.
Sorry, that's also your. You get more business because of that.
Of course.
Fantastic. All, thank you for joining me today. Please do put your hands together for today's panel. Thank you all.